views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of Bronx Night or the program underwriters.
Hey everyone, I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Welcome to Open BXRX, another fantastic show in store for you. If you want to, you can kick off your shoes and relax your feet. I've got you covered like a blanket. Coming up on today's show, we'll spotlight the work of an organization that is guiding and preparing our youth for college and beyond. Then we'll speak to our director to learn about how her organization is providing a platform for the arts. After that, we'll follow up with the founder of an organization that continues to provide a space for local food vendors in our community. Then Bobby C steps into the room with the latest in the world of sports. And then finally, we'll sit down with an award-winning author, playwright, and radio and TV personality whose work is providing visibility for the Black American musical landscape. So stay tuned. All of this and more is headed your way. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right here on Open. We're wide open. Welcome. Hey, everyone. I'm the Doc Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS, and you are watching Open. It's that live interactive program that brings the Bronx, New York City straight to your TV set. You know, you can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Now, leading things off, our first guest is the executive director of Summer on the Hill. And he joins us to talk about the educational programs provided to promising low-income public school students. And he's here. And I don't know if this is his first time on the show, but we're going to welcome him with open arms. Just like, whoop. Welcome. Markell Parker, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Lee.
Tell us about these wonderful programs that you have initiated at the Summer on the Hill.
Well, Summer on the Hill is actually one of the best kept secrets in the Bronx. We've been around for 27 years, where we recruit public school students from all over the Bronx to take accelerated classes on the campus of the Horace Mann School. You'd be surprised at how much their eyes and their enthusiasm awakens when they see a campus of a private school and realize this is what some schools are like, and how it shoots their drive through the roof.
And Markell, what is your role and how long have you been involved?
So I'm the executive director. I've been in this role for about 6 years. I've been involved in the program since about 2001 in various roles, doing admissions. I was a dean. I've taught classes. So I've had a few roles in the program over that time that I've been involved.
Everybody, when you have the dean of the school, everybody says, "Watch out for the dean." The dean, I walk the talkie over there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, usually if you get sent to the dean's office, it's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing. Yeah.
But in our case, our students are there voluntarily. They love learning. And quite honestly, they come to a program like this because in most cases, they're accelerated learners ready to move at a faster pace than their class is generally able to. A teacher who has 30 plus students can't really tend to the needs of those who are ready to move faster. They've more so got to teach to the middle or those students who need remediation and need help. And so our students are typically left by the wayside, reading a book after they finish their work or helping the student next to them. What we do in our program is make sure they move at their pace, that they do accelerated learning. That's typically a couple weeks ahead of what they're learning in school. And as of late, we've actually evolved our program to do some more exciting curriculum.
Yeah, and although it's called Summer on the Hill, you go all year round, right? What are some of the other programs that we have?
Yeah, the name is deceptive. It is academic. It's all year. The highlight is the summer because we do 5 weeks of summer straight on campus. But during the school year, we're in operations somewhere between 12 and 18 Saturdays.
And what age groups do you deal with?
Well, we start recruiting our students in second grade, as a matter of fact. That's the age where they really start to show academic prowess,
Yeah.
and we want to make sure that we maximize their potential by getting to them early. Most of the studies show that if you don't have your hooks in students as far as their academics by 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, chances are that you're going to lose them if they don't already love learning by that point. So we start early for that reason. And we typically go through 8th grade, and we have a robust but non-obligatory high school program where it's centered around college readiness and college preparation.
What has the pandemic done? Did it hinder or help?
Well, actually both in hindsight. We had to go 100% remote, which was certainly something that was less than ideal for everyone who had to do that in education. But we had an opportunity during the spring of 2020 to see what worked and what didn't as we prepared for our summer program. And what we found is that you can't do the same reading, writing, arithmetic remotely that you were doing before. So what we did was we evolved our program to engage students in things that are relevant to their community. We did things like our curriculum in 4th grade had to do with climate change. 5th grade was doing food production and how food actually gets to your neighborhood and what food deserts are. 8th graders were learning about the stock market and how that actually works. We've done family finance. We did the presidential election last fall. And I'm excited about what we're going to be doing this fall because we're going to be focusing on local politics in civics classes. Hopefully engaging some local politicians and also be doing some engineering and how those things dovetail with one another. So the pandemic has actually presented us with a number of opportunities to evolve our curriculum and involve our students in something that's relevant to them on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, have you reached out to any of the elected officials? Like I know former Assemblyman Michael Blake, he's doing some great things. I think he's over at Monroe College or doing civics classes and things of that nature. Maybe you could reach out to him and he could be he's a wealth of information, that's for sure.
I will certainly add him to my list. We have some calls in and certainly have reached out to local city council people who, we receive funding annually from the Bronx delegation. So all of the local city council people should at least know who we are. I'm hoping to get them involved and get them to speak to our students on Zoom and hopefully pop up in their offices with some students as well and parents.
Summer on the Hill, doing great things. Good to hear, good to know, great to know.
Thank you. Thank you. We're doing our best to create the leaders that the Bronx needs at this point. And we're starting from the ground up. You know, we're starting as early as 2nd grade because you know, there's a lot of training that goes into leadership.
I was going to say that from way on the ground up. The 2nd grade is great. I mean, you know, and youngsters need this too.
Absolutely.
Youngsters need that guidance every step of the way.
For sure.
And I'm glad you're for that.
Thank you. As we could put our curriculum together, I think about all the things I wanted to learn and never did in school. And certainly, I didn't learn about local politics to know what an assemblyman is or a congressperson or city council and the impact that they have on our lives. Versus president, right. And so we've just tried to inject some of that with the opportunity of the pandemic to, evolve the education that our students are getting, because there's so much more that they need to know if they're going to be the leaders we need to save us, quite honestly.
Markell, do you have it up on social media or website?
Yes, you can find us at Summer on the Hill on Instagram. You can find us at SOH@HM on Twitter. And our website is probably the hub of information, summeronthehill.org. If you just Google Summer on the Hill and look for us in the Bronx, you'll find us.
Thank you for your service. Give a virtual hug to everybody in your organization. The Executive Director, Summer on the Hill, Markell Parker. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Lee, and everybody at Bronx Net for the opportunity. Thank you.
You got it. Okay. We'll take a break right here. More open coming up next. back, everybody. Hope you're enjoying yourself. You're watching Open. I'm the Doc Bob Lee. And our next guest is the Deputy Director and Director of Development and Creative Artworks. And she joins us today to speak about the art and skills development programs provided to the under-resourced New York City youth. So please welcome to the show. She's waiting to see if I'm going to say her name right. Karen Jolicoeur. Welcome.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Is it in there? Did we do it correctly? I know.
Yes, yes. Well done.
Well, thank you. Tell us about all that you're doing. First of all, tell us about you, who you are, and what the program's all about.
Well, I'm the Deputy Director of the organization, coming up on 9 years with Creative Artworks.
Yeah.
And we exist to empower New York City youth through the arts, specifically the visual and multimedia arts. Mm-hmm. So all of our programs equip young people with essential tools and skills that they frequently would otherwise lack the access to. We aim to connect them to their academic life, to their communities, to future career possibilities, and ultimately to inspire them to new possibilities and ideas for the future.
Yeah, and what are these programs all about? Tell us about it.
Well, we have a variety of ways that we put that mission into practice. We serve a number, several hundred students through in-school programs in New York City public schools. We do a lot of out-of-school time programming also, after-school weekend school vacations. We do a lot of community art making, which has, of course, taken a little bit of a step back during the pandemic at large community events. And we might be best known for our public art youth employment program. It's really a creative workforce development program where we give kids jobs creating large-scale public art and multimedia projects.
Sounds good. What age group do you deal with?
4 to 24. So in-school programs are K to 12 and after school, of course, and then the public art youth employment programs skew to teens and young adults.
And what do students learn?
Well, in addition to learning, a whole host of technical artistic skills, they learn things like persistence. Art making is an iterative process, and you need to go back over and over. And we teach things through that process, like a mistake might be an opportunity. Rather than a setback. Our young people have to confront the fact that they might feel not very successful at something straight out of the gate. But over time, they begin to see their skills develop. And then they might see a little more out in the art world about just what can be accomplished and think, oh, I still have a ways to go. So it's a real process of growth.
Karen, why is it so important to have these art and development programs available to our New York City youth?
Well, we really see this as an equity issue. Access to the artistic experience is, we believe, an essential human right, really. And in the schools, where for a long time the trend was towards having students be very successful on a test, bubble in the right answer. Sometimes the danger then is that everything narrows around that which is getting measured. And the experience can get very narrow and a little bit dull, particularly for students who might really come alive through the artistic process more so than in other ways. If they never get the opportunity to try, or their teachers or administrators never see them through that lens, then that is a whole area that gets closed to that student. And the irony is that we know, and it's been proven time and time again, that experience with the arts has a direct impact on success in school and success in career later in life. We hear how companies who are looking to hire people really are challenged to find creative thinkers, and so in order to get there, we need to give kids opportunities to ask questions and explore, and not only be stuffed with content that they can bubble in.
Now, we ask a lot of organizations and a lot of people questions about COVID-19 and how they've navigated through the pandemic. What have
Right.
you and the company done so far?
Have we beat the word pivot to death enough quite yet? But we really did.
Yeah.
We put all of our creative skills into practice as an organization and brought everything online. We had to stop while the schools just closed up and decided, how are we going to reach these kids? What are we going to do next? And we very quickly brought our programs online, first making asynchronous opportunities available via our website and via our community and school partners, and ultimately teaching online. And then we noticed that this distribution of electronic and technical equipment and more equitable access to internet and such might just be an opportunity that we could exploit for good, and began providing a lot of digital arts programming online. And most recently, last spring, when we could again begin to have staff in the office safely for some parts of time, we sourced and collated and packed up and distributed hundreds of art to-go bags. I think about 600 of them were distributed in the Bronx from out in front of schools, so that we could get those materials into the hands of kids, because the digital world has become, a bit all pervasive and all consuming, and we really did want kids to get back to the tactile experience that visual art materials provide as well. So it's been constant innovation mode for
It's been a challenge.
And we did, the other thing that might be really important to mention is that in the summer of 2020, the city initially announced that they were going to cancel the summer youth employment program. And that is where we get the majority of our youth apprentices for the largest portion of our youth employment program that happens in the summer. So we created an entirely digital program and committed to hiring 50 youth apprentices at our own expense, and ran a very robust public art youth employment program in the summer of 2020. And we kept that digital portion in force in the summer of 21, when we also got back to making large-scale public art in person.
Well, let me see. I can see some things on your screen that you wanted to mention. Let me take a better look. Did you mention those things yet?
Oh, well, I was looking to remind myself of a couple of street addresses, because your audience might know some of our public art. If their young people haven't participated in our programs in schools in the Bronx, they might know some of our public art. We frequently partner with PAL. We have work on their Webster Ave Center and over in Longwood. We have public art inside of the Bronx Family Court. A few different projects that we've done in partnership with the Family Court for the Bronx location.
Excellent. Where can we go for more of this wonderful information?
Well, our website is creativeartworks.org. That's art singular, works plural. And we have a blog there that shows lots of recent stories of the youth and the art, and the impact of the art on them, and the impact of their art on their community. And you can also please support our work there. That's also linked on the website. These are very strange and unpredictable times, and we would love to expand our resources to keep getting out there and providing this work to thousands of New York City kids.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all the work that you guys are doing. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.
Karen Jolicoeur. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. She's the Deputy Director and Director of Development, Creative Artworks. We appreciate everything that you guys are doing for our youth. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. More coming up next. We'll take a break and we'll give it to you on Open.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at bronxnet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
2, 1. We're going to let you know what's cooking. Our next guest is the co-founder of the Bronx Night Market, and he's here with us to speak about how his organization has continued to thrive during the global pandemic and to highlight the support services that they are providing to parents, teachers, and students. So welcome to the show, Markell Shalma. Welcome, Markell.
Thank you. Thank you for having me over here. I appreciate that. How you doing?
Good. What's cooking?
We already, before we know that, we already at the end of the year, and it's been a long season for us starting in April. Bronx Night Market and Fordham Flea have been the first outdoor events to be open in New York City this season. And every week we've been out there in Fordham Plaza, grinding, trying to do the best we can to kind of give some sort of just good environment, entertainment to our residents and beyond. So, we're excited for the last few weeks left in the season. And, it's kind of when the time where we're starting to, do a post-mortem of what we've done well and what we can improve for next year. So it's good. It's good to be us right now.
Was it a good summer? Did you really thrive during the summer?
It was a great summer. Mind you, there was, besides the fact that, the Bronx Night Market has already established itself in the Bronx and Fordham Plaza, we started a new brand called Fordham Flea on the last Sunday of the month, which is focused around more about the arts and crafts, merchandise, gifts, kind of, like a flea market. So, we were able to see that goes from 0 to 100, and have those two amazing brands. But besides that, it's been a summer when New York has so much to do outdoors, and we just kind of, we just happy to be part of that, that entire relief force after a year of being locked in.
Yeah. It was good to get out, and the food was good. Talk about some of the foods that we had.
Oh yeah. I think we still need to have you over to try some food, as long as you remember to bring stretchy pants, because there's a lot of good food out there, Dr. Bob.
I'll bring a belt with different notches on it.
Exactly. The best thing that we do around over there is just being able to highlight and support local businesses. So we pride ourselves, especially in the Bronx Night Market, we pride ourselves to be like a growing pad for over 12 businesses that started off with us. I'm talking about George Foreman Grill and Hopes, and now some of them have brick and mortars, multiple. We talk about Next Stop Vegan. We're talking about City Tamales. We're talking about Empanology. Those are just some of the businesses that started with us with just nothing but a good, just a hopes and wishes, and now are thriving. And the Bronx Night Market has been incubator for those kind of businesses. And now we're doing the same thing for the merchant vendors, the micro businesses in Fordham Flea. Fun fact that not a lot of people know, there was an increase of 500% in application for this season by small merchants. A lot of people stayed home and started businesses, Shopify, and started businesses on Etsy and crafts, so they needed a place to go. And that's why we went with Fordham Flea to give that space for them, in the kind of standard that we are known for in the city.
Yeah, that's great. And wait a minute, how many more weeks do you have left over there?
So we have 5. We have the entire October, every Saturday in October, for Bronx Night Market, and we have the last Fordham Flea will be on Halloween, 10/31. That's the Sunday, and after that we have one massive event, which is the Harvest Festival in November 13, and
that's
that will be
that's the grand finale.
That is the grand finale. We're talking about all odds. We're talking about, mobile stage performances all day, tons of giveaways. May Haze activation for the kid, pumpkin carving station. That's going to be like the grand finale for the season, for the outdoor season. And, we will have some surprises for indoor during the winter because we know people will still want to go out.
Yeah, because we just got into autumn. Let me see, September 20th.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way through to December 20th.
Yeah.
Where winter starts.
And even though the temperature has dropped a little bit in the last couple of days, you can see that fall is going to be hopefully stretching a little bit further. With the way that the summer has been brutal.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Weather-wise, summer's been brutal. It's not going to. It hasn't been the summer that we used to. So we hoping the fall winter will be some sort of a compensation that we'll still be able to be outside and enjoy each other's company.
So that big event that's going to happen, that's the upcoming event that everybody's talking about.
That one is just, you just got like a tip, you just got it first to kind of know about that Harvest Festival. The big one that everybody talking about is the Halloween weekend. And the Halloween weekend, we have the Saturday, 10:30, October 30th we have the big Bronx Night Market Halloween party, and the next day we have the big grand finale for the Fallen Flea, which is also going to be themed like Halloween, but more focused on the merch and arts and crafts and like little knickknacks and stuff.
Are you going to be doing anything different?
Oh yeah! First of all, I'm going to be dressed up, but yeah, we are really going to go all out as far as that. We brought some sponsorship as far as Angry Orchard and with different kind of organizations in the city, and it's gonna be we're known for our Halloween parties. We had like 3 of them that were significantly crazier. But it's gonna be as this year has been, it's gonna be focused on the small businesses, the micro businesses, supporting everything local and really collaborating with different organizations, including Fordham University, Lehman College, Bronx Community College, to really kind of create something that is like community-based and community-oriented.
Yeah, just like you have the pumpkin carving station for Halloween, you can have a mask decorating station or something. Just a thought, all the things that you're going to be doing out there, I'm sure it's going to be great.
I think it's a great idea. I think we can do that mass decorating. I know a lot of people would want to participate in that. We can also do a contest. We're going to call it the Dr. Bob Lee mass contest, mass decorating contest. So
yeah,
paying it back, man.
Yeah, paying it back. Use your 3 W's. Wear that mask, watch your distance, and wash your hands.
That's it.
A hand washing station.
Oh, we definitely have those, this is one of the things that, changed this year. We've learned, so we, like I mentioned earlier, we were the first one to open in New York City. Bronx Night Market was the first one to open in New York City. We opened like April 2nd, I think we opened. And we had to go through 80 pages of regulation with the city in order to kind of be able to open, and we went through the process of restricting, the capacity, testing at the door, making sure that we have all the mandates, extra hand washing station and whatnot. So we were so prepared and we were so on point, because we wanted to make sure that, all eyes are on us. We can't let it down. And then the city used us as like a little bit of a testing ground to see if that's even possible. And then the entire city opened up in June 15, following that with the recommendation. So, but I think all in all, the changes that were made in order to accommodate the post-pandemic life are actually good ones. Who doesn't need more hand washing stations in a food festival? That's important. Who doesn't need more porta potties than regular stuff like that? Separating or regulating the times, we find out that regulating capacity actually helps the vendors sell more and pay more attention to the customers, and people wait less in line. So
we're looking forward to coming down and eating up some of your food and experiencing the whole thing that's going on. Where can we go for more information, and give us the address to where we're going?
Thanks, Dr. Bob. I'll hold you to it. We were looking to see you. So this October, every Saturday in October, we'll be at the Fordham Plaza, One Fordham Plaza, right over there on Fordham Road, from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. And the last Sunday of the month, that will be like October 31st, Halloween, we have Fordham Flea. It's the largest flea market in Uptown in the Bronx, and it's from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. And follow us on @Bronx Night Market and @Fordham Flea to get more information and to learn about the giveaways, raffle prizes, musical performances, and more. I hope everybody will come and send us off for the winter, like, in a proper manner,
There you go. Always a pleasure to talk to you. We're going to come down and eat up all your food and check out all the wonderful experiences. Co-founder, Bronx Night Market, Markell Shalma.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Let's play ball. Bobby C. He's up next, the latest in the world of sports on Open.
When taking public transportation, don't touch your phone. Carry hand sanitizer and use it immediately upon leaving the bus or train. Avoid touching your face. If someone is coughing or sneezing, move away. Wash your hands with soap and water as soon as possible. Limit contact with poles. If possible, avoid rush hour. Don't eat or drink on public transportation. Keep your bag off the floor or other surfaces. Avoid directly touching turnstiles. Stay up to date with the latest from your local health department and CDC.
It's lights out, and away we go with this interview. The modern voice of Formula One, David Crofty. Croft joins us from the UK. Crofty, to me, you have the best call in sports today. How is everything going, my friend?
It's all very good indeed. Bobby, Chris, great to meet you. Great to see you again. Bobby, we did a little chat just a few weeks ago and love that. Do I have the best job? Yes, I do. I can't deny it. I absolutely love what I do, to be fair. And whilst I'm not a driver, I've never been a racing driver, never been good enough to be a racing driver. I get the same adrenaline and buzz every time the lights go out that some of our guys in Formula One do. In fact, Jenson Button, who was with me in Holland, said after the race, after his first commentary that we'd done together, he said, "Man, that was amazing. I was more nervous than I was when I was on the grid racing. It was incredible." And I know how he feels. We get quite a buzz.
Well, you bring that same energy and excitement to the racing world that the racers do, you know, and Sky Sports F1 lead commentator, of course, ESPN here in the United States. Crofty, what is it like following in the late, great Murray Walker's footsteps?
It's an utter privilege, to be fair, to follow in Murray's footsteps and all the guys that have gone before me. I took inspiration from every single one of them. And try to be my own man. And always try to be my own man. But Murray was a very special gentleman who was very helpful in the early stages of my career, and who I talked to quite a bit, and was not only the greatest Formula One motorsports commentator, he was just one of the greatest human beings, full stop. And I love spending time with Murray. He was the first man that I phoned up the night before Sky announced that I got the job along with Martin to call the races. And when I thought, right, I can actually tell people now, as long as they keep it quiet for another few hours, Murray was the first that I phoned up to say, hey, guess what? I've got the job. And he was as chuffed as I was, to be fair. He was an absolute legend. Loved working with him, as I did a little bit at the BBC. Loved getting to know him, and some very special times over the years. And it's coming up now to the 20th anniversary of Murray's last ever TV commentary, and it doesn't feel like 20 years. It feels like just a few moments, because we all remember just how amazing he was at drawing you in to the action and keeping you interested on a Sunday afternoon here in the UK, and whatever time of day you guys are watching in the States with all the races. And it only seems a second ago that we sadly lost him as well. He's very much in our thoughts still, and just one of those guys that, whether you got to meet Murray and got to know Murray, or whether you were just a fan that got to hear and be a part of his commentaries on a Sunday afternoon, he meant a lot to absolutely everybody, and he was just a proper inspiration.
I mean, hard to believe March of 2021. And as you mentioned, when you have that career-defining Formula One moment, he was the first person that you called. I mean, is there one thing that you miss most about him? Is it maybe calling him to talk to him about the commentary?
Last time I called Murray, I phoned him up. I went, "Hi, Murray, it's Crofty here." "Oh, Crofty, how are you? Tell me, Sebastian Vettel, what's going on there?" And it straight away, Murray wanted to know what was going on in the paddock, what the latest news and gossip was, and we talk about Formula One. And they say, "Oh, and how's your son? How's young Daniel getting on?" Well, young Daniel, my eldest son, is now 14 and about as tall as I am. But Murray stood in for me the weekend that Daniel was born. So back in 2007, and Murray stood in for me at 5 Live and came on air and said, "Oh, brilliant, the BBC, you're playing my theme tune." Because of course they were playing the chain. He said, "Thank you so much for allowing me to come back, and thank you to Daniel Joseph Marcus Croft, without whom I wouldn't be here this weekend." And in true Murray fashion, it's Daniel Joseph Michael Croft. He got his name slightly wrong there, but we didn't want Murray to get everything right all the time. It just wouldn't be Murray, would it? But the fact that he was saying hello to my son, who was 2 days old at the time, and he was in my arms, I'm like, "You've got to listen to this man. He's an absolute legend." And they got to meet a few times as well.
You've done such a wonderful job engaging the fans, and like I said, modern voice of F1. I had that tremendous honor, you mentioned it, of joining you for that very first F1 Experiences fan cast with Crofty. I teased you on the show for someone that didn't maybe get a chance to see it, because I had said to you that you actually got this big gig at a bar in Las Vegas. I don't know if people knew that. Tell us that story, and I'm curious if it was actually over a game of darts.
No, sadly, it wasn't. It was in one of the big hotels. Although I am rather partial to a game of darts, as you well know, Bobby. It was back in 2005, in October 2005, and I happened to be sat with a very good friend of mine who I worked with at BBC 5 Live, and it was about 2 a.m. We'd had a lot to drink. We'd had a very big evening in Vegas, and he turned around and he said, You should be a Formula One commentator." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, Jason. You've had a lot to drink. Don't be silly. Talk about it in the morning." I went, No. I really think you should be an F1 commentator. You like the sport. You know a bit about the sport. You've got a great voice. And we need a new commentator. He said, "You should audition for it. You really should." I'm like, "Tell me when you're sober." And he did. He told me again when he was sober the next morning. And I did. And I went and auditioned. Off the back of that conversation, Jason was in charge of Formula One at BBC Radio, and I beat off 19 other applicants, I think it was, to get the job. And on the 23rd of December 2005, that's when it was announced that I was going to be making the move from working in the sports room and doing various sports at BBC 5 Live to going and specialising in Formula One. And I wanted to specialise in a sport. I wanted to get my teeth stuck into a sport. It was a year's contract. I had no idea how long I was going to be doing it for, although I knew I've got a year. And then later on in that season, after I'd impressed enough people, they extended the contract a bit. And as we sit here, so Bahrain 2006 was my first race. So as we sit here today, I'm approaching my 299th Grand Prix as a Formula One commentator. Turkey will be my 300th race as a commentator.
And I'm going to toot my horn here. You get a chance to toot yours. So on the fan cast, I actually called it, Crofty, because I said that this was the year for the real deal Max Lewis title fight, and we are actually getting it. What an incredible season it has been.
Yeah. Should we talk? Do you want to talk about the whole season, or should we concentrate on the first chicane at Monza for a while? What did you make of it, Bobby? Come on, you give me your views here. This is like the fan cast all over again. Who was in the wrong? Max, Lewis, racing incident? Well, you're the steward. What would you have done?
I think they're both partially part to blame, and I just think it goes to show how hard they're fighting for this championship, and just thank goodness for the halo, because we might not have Lewis Hamilton if it wasn't for it.
It's a very good point. When the halo first came in, I was very supportive of it, because I could see the need, and I think there's been a few incidents since the halo was introduced that has reminded us just why it was necessary. And look, it might look like an upturned flip-flop, but who cares? If it's saving lives and it's saving drivers from serious injury, it's doing its job. I think we put that debate well and truly to bed long before the incident in Monza. Martin called it as a racing incident in the commentary. I wasn't going to disagree with him at all during the commentary. I thought Max was more to blame than Lewis. I think the stewards in the wording of the document got it about right, because by saying Max was predominantly to blame, I think they acknowledged that both drivers weren't going to yield in that respect. Same as with Lewis at Silverstone, predominantly to blame, not wholly to blame, predominantly. And they've given a 3-place grid penalty for Sochi, which is as equal as they can find within the framework of the penalties they can give to what would have been a 10-second time penalty on the track. So they've tried to give Max the same penalty they gave to Lewis at Silverstone. But of course, they've done this after the race, so they can't give a 10-second time penalty because Max was out of the race. It would be a futile penalty. To be fair, it might be a futile penalty anyway if Max takes a new engine in Sochi, which is where I think Red Bull are leaning at the moment, and he goes to the back of the grid. So they can cut their losses to a certain extent with that. But I think it was an important penalty, and I think it should serve as a reminder to both drivers. They have a duty of care to each other, not to crash into each other if they can avoid it. Now, Lewis Hamilton took avoiding action earlier in the race. He's taken avoiding action earlier in the season as well. Max could have bailed out of that at a much earlier opportunity, maybe done what his teammate Sergio Perez did in the sprint race. Bail out, get ahead, have to give the place back, but do it at a time when he knows he's going to get DRS and he can then make the pass. That's what Perez did in the afternoon, on Saturday afternoon in the sprint race, and then I think got pulled up for it in the main Grand Prix itself. He could and probably should have bailed out a bit, but I'm probably being contentious there, because there'll be a load of Max Verstappen fans now say, "Oh, Crofty, what are you talking about? Lewis didn't give him enough space." Well, come on. Max knew that he was going to go over that sausage curb and he was going to bounce into Lewis's car. Didn't know he was going to go over the top, but he knew he was going to bounce into that car. So what was he doing driving straight to that sausage curb? He knew that it was going to cause an accident. That's why he was predominantly to blame in the mind of the stewards.
That was part one of our interview with the voice of Formula One, David Crofty Croft. Tune in next time for part two.
Welcome back, everybody, on the Doc Bob Lee from 107.5 WVLS. And our next guest is a noted author, playwright, radio and TV personality. She's on with us today to speak about her work as the executive director of the Mama Foundation. You heard about that a lot, the Mama Foundation of the Arts. And she's in Harlem. And please welcome to the show, the First Lady, Vi Higginsen. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bob Lee. It's such a pleasure to be with you. Broadcast brothers and sisters. I love it.
Yeah, that's it. And just a little bit about yourself. We were talking about it earlier, of how you got started with the WBLS, WLIB, and how, that start took place uptown in Harlem.
Yes, it did take place up on the classic corridor, which is Lenox Avenue, which is where, of course, the famous Sylvia's restaurant and many other restaurants have joined, like the Red Rooster and Corner Social, etc. But right in that building was WLIB AM. Yes, and that's on 126th Street and Lenox Avenue. And I lived on 126th Street between Lenox and 7th Avenue. So going to work over there was just a major feat and in walking distance.
A hop, skip, jump.
A hop, skip, and a jump, yes. Yeah. And it was a magic time in radio, Dr. Bob Lee. They had the famous, fast talking DJs like Eddie O.J. and all the rest of the A-team on AM. And then FM came into being, and so did Frankie Crocker, and a whole new team and a whole new generation of radio, was established. And I think the unique part of it, and I always give Frankie Crocker the credit for having the vision to realize that the door had to be open for women. And I was just happy to walk through that door under his tutelage. And everything I knew about radio came from Frankie Crocker.
There you go. Thus, the First Lady of WBLS Inner City Broadcasting, WLIB.
Yes, amazing. And then, the AM station was bought by the Sutton family and a whole host of investors. And the new FM station had to move, and it moved down to 801 2nd Avenue at 42nd Street. And that's where I think magic happened. It was a total Black experience and sound, a different shade of Black, gospel, a different shade of Black, blues, a different shade of Black. It was jazz and, all and Latin. And so you had a whole a spectrum of fabulous music coming from some of the greatest geniuses of all time. It was magical being in the studio and playing that music.
And you've come such a long way from radio. You do radio, TV, you've written plays, you produced them, and the great one, Mama, I Want to Sing.
Mama, I Want to Sing. And Mama, I Want to Sing is about 126th Street between Lenox and 7th. It's about my sister, my mother, my father. It's the story of music, but it's not only my story. It's the story of African-American music and its contribution to American music. And I think that's why it became the longest running Black off-Broadway theater musical in history. I think that was the important example of the power of music and the power of Black music in particular. So yes, WBLS and Mama, I Want to Sing, because there was a radio station on stage. So that radio station was telling the story of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you traveled all over the world with this, right?
Yes, we traveled around the United States for 2.5 years. Every major primary city and every secondary city. Yes, we were going out on tour for 2 weeks. We ended up for 2 years, 2.5 years. Then we went to Europe. This little show, The Engine That Could, coming straight out of Harlem, ended up in London, in Germany, in Switzerland, and it ended up in Yugoslavia, in Istanbul, and Greece, and everywhere that Mama went, the audiences would respond the exact same way at the exact same time. That was magical as a writer to see audiences respond to the music. And then we went to Japan. We introduced the Japanese audiences to gospel music. Mama, I Want to Sing, straight out of Harlem. And now they have schools that have, hundreds of people learning gospel music, if you didn't know. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And you were ordained an interfaith minister.
Yes, yes.
Right about
Bob, we were traveling to so many countries and meeting so many different people. I thought it was important to understand what other people believed in so that we could communicate more effectively. I wanted to know more about what we have in common as opposed to what was different about us. And so that's why I became an ordained minister, interfaith minister.
And now you can sit there and listen and respond to lots of different traditions, because there are many of them out there, and you're sitting in a position. So you started the foundation. Tell us about that.
I started the Mama Foundation because out of fear. The more Mama I Want to Sing ran, and we had to audition young people for the role, they were coming in and they couldn't even sing a whole gospel song all the way through. They didn't even know Precious Lord or Amazing Grace. And that was scary to me, because I thought that we really need to save the music. We need to make sure that this music is on the menu. We don't put down anybody else's menu. Do what you want to do, but don't forget who you are, where you came from, and what contribution that Black American music has made to the world. And so that's why I said, no, we got to train these young people between 11 and 19 years old so that they can become ambassadors of the music, so they can have it on their menu. And that's what we do. We have enrollment and we receive grants so that we can give these young people this information. So the program then becomes free to the student and their family. And we're in an enrollment period right now, as a matter of fact. So we can bring young people in. We got people from the Bronx and Brooklyn and Queens and Pennsylvania and Connecticut. So you can come in and we will teach you breathing, harmony, pitch, and control. We will help you gain self-confidence and self-esteem and become better at your academics, because that's what music has the power to do. So yes, 87% of our kids go on to higher education. So we're excited that the Mama Foundation is giving back to the community and giving music to young people who really need it.
How do we enroll?
How do you do it? Yes, you can. You can enroll, go to our website, mamafoundation.org, and you can sign up right there. Or you can call us directly at 212-280-1045. Yes, 212-280-1045. And classes begin in October, and we enroll at least 30 to 40 new students every year. So we do have some spots that are available, and we do have a grant, so there's no cost.
You know, I've been hosting at the summer stage in front of the Harlem State Office Building, and I always give like a little history of WBLS, Inner City Broadcasting Corporation, WLIB. And I always say, the First Lady lives right behind me here. And after I finished the show one day, and I was telling your daughter, Noelle, after I finished the show one day, I was sitting in my vehicle, just relaxing after hosting, and you came walking by, and I got ready to call you. Bye. But I didn't, because you looked like you were in such a hurry. And then told me that you was going across to go to the store. So I said, I'll call her later, no problem. But, you're so
I always have time.
Yeah, you're involved in so many communities. You mentioned all those communities across the United States and around the world, Japan and whatnot. But you're right here. You're in the five boroughs. You're in Harlem. And for Harlem Week, you're right there. For the Harlem Summer Stage, you're always there. You're engaged in our community still to this day. And that's important.
I love Harlem. I love New York. I love what we stand for, what we believe in. I love that this is the mecca of culture and entertainment. And I'm delighted just to be part of that. Yeah.
You know, you started on WBLS, WLIB. Here's the microphone. What did you say when you were on the air? Just a little opening, like a record was playing with Wind and Fire.
Oh my goodness. I remember saying something like, the sun is at its highest point in the sky. It's 12 o'clock. And everybody's just a little crazy. Come on, enjoy. I remember saying, I know I would end the show that said something like, You lose some of the time what you go after, but you lose all the time what you don't go after. So go for it.
Bye, Higginsen. Yeah. Thank you so much. You're always welcome. Give us that website one more time.
mamafoundation.org and 212-280-1045.
There you go. mamafoundation.org. Vi Higginsen, Executive Director of Mama Foundation for the Arts. Thank you so much. All right, that about does it for all of us here. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking it out. Thank you for letting us share in this space and time with you. And always remember this, what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice, and let your choice control the chooser. For all of us here at Bronx Night, have a great and enjoyable day, and I'll see you over 107.5 WBLS. We love you all. Peace.